and welcome to episode 109 of Gamers Are Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony, and joining me this week for the very first time, it's the friend of the show, it's Manny.
Hello, how's it going?
Not too bad, sir, not too bad. How are you?
Excellent, sir.
Excellent stuff. And another first this week, it's D-Pad Joy's poster boy, it's Mr. Steve Carter.
Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, Steve, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a week of firsts.
Yes, it is indeed. It's like the Gamers Are Lost Spark has now grown. We have a wider family now, so it's quite cool.
Wide and dysfunctional.
That's it. Well, I like that. We're
Yeah.
wide and dysfunctional.
True to life.
So how are you guys? Hey, Manny, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been really good, actually. I feel like as this is my first one, I'm not going to do my first week. I'm just going to do my whole life, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I've never been on before, so... Yeah, I started gaming when I was 10. Got quite a big round to cover. No, it's been really good. Kind of dominated by the weekend and bonfire night. Do you guys do much for bonfire night at all around your way? I'm guessing not in Poshville, Antony.
No, it's quite funny. We obviously we were watching Strictly. We were watching Strictly Come Dancing. So we watched Spider-Man: Homecoming because that's up on Apple TV. So we had Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then we started watching Strictly, and then the fireworks started kind of around where there's just so many fireworks. So we kind of ran up to the top of the house and opened all the big kind of loft windows and just kind of watched the firework display there. So quite cheaply, really.
Beautiful. Little did we know when we moved into this house, but my next door neighbour is basically a bit of a mentalist when it comes to fireworks. So right. I had a chat with him Saturday morning, and he was talking about setting off the usual raft of fireworks, and he said it's his son's 30th birthday, so he's just gone to the shop and he's picked up an extra £200 worth of fireworks for this year. I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those nights.
Like Excellent. You do.
Yeah, indeed, as you do. Yeah, an extra £200 worth. All right, okay. So yeah, we got a bunch of friends around, had a barbecue and stuff. And just watched that. I mean, it must have gone on for about 20, 25 minutes. We had pieces of fireworks falling down in the garden, the backyard. It was just spectacular, brilliant. So that's kind of what my weekend was dominated by, really.
So does he have those? Does he have those like big? Because you can get those like big blocks, can't you? Of like big blocks of fireworks, which are legal to buy in this country. I don't know why. You know, around kind of November, you start getting those shops popping up. It's like buy your fireworks here. You know, the local pyromaniac runs a shop, and you get these big kind of blocks that you just light once, and then they go.
Yeah,
you know,
he had several of those and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Yeah, so it was large. I've never been that close to fireworks before. It's quite interesting. Somewhat dangerous, you might say, but it's all fine, you know? Nothing's set on fire.
You start backing up. You start backing up a little bit, like, I'm just going to go inside the house.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that was my Saturday. What did we do Sunday? We watched, went to see Thor.
Right.
At the cinema. I'm guessing you've seen that already, Antony. I'm pretty sure you have.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you make of it?
Oh God, I loved it. I thought it was just so funny. It's one of those movies where I went in expecting big things because I like Thor. I love the director as well, whose name I won't say because I'll just butcher it. But it was just so funny. You know, it was just hilariously funny. Have you seen it, Steve? Have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
No, I haven't, and I don't want to live up to the northern stereotype, but I'm a little bit tight when it comes to going to the cinema. I only go for something I'm really, really bothered about. So I will watch Thor eventually. But I kind of reserve it for the likes of the Lego movies or Batman or Star Wars. Yep. And then the next film I'll probably go watch is Star Wars when it comes out next month. So the last movie I went to see was Lego Batman. So that's kind of how long ago we're talking that I go to the cinema. So yeah, I hate to live up to the cliche, but yes, I refuse to pay cinema money, unfortunately. I'd rather wait to have the disc in my hand when it comes to Blu-ray and then just watch it in my own
totally.
in my own space without people chewing popcorn in my ear, spilling a drink on the floor, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's something I will get round to. And I was listening to the pod last week. It sounds like a really good movie. A bit of an improvement from the last 2 Thor movies in terms of a bit of light-hearted, which I think Marvel's kind of moving that way. So. It's definitely, I think, one to watch out for. Yeah,
I think I was definitely in the same camp as James, where I've kind of fallen off that Marvel bandwagon a bit because they're just a bit self-serious now. But this pulled me right back in. It's just funny all the way through, non-stop. It's great.
I can't wait for because the next one that we've got is Black Panther. So that comes out, and I was a bit like you, Steve. I was like, no, I'll wait for Black Panther. I'll wait for it to come out like on home, like Blu-ray or Apple TV or whatever. And then I saw the trailer, and I was just like, no, I need to go and see this day one. You know, it's quite handy because it's fell on my birthday. It's actually out on my birthday, and at work now we get our birthdays off as like an extra day's holiday. So it's
very nice.
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture.
I was like, right, you've got me for another couple of years. You know, it's just like so it's on International Tony Day. So I'm gonna. I normally take my birthdays off anyway because I don't like working on my birthday. But it's going to be really cool going to see like Black Panther in IMAX. You know, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just fun all the way through, and it looked amazing as well. I thought the fight between Thor and Hulk just looked absolutely incredible.
Oh, it looks stunning. Yeah, so, some of the set pieces later on just look spectacular. You know, just absolutely stunning. I meant to ask you actually, how are you getting on with your Apple TV and the 4K side of things? Is that all going well?
Absolutely love it. Well, so we watched, like I say, Spider-Man. So we're Spider-Man Homecoming this week, and so we bought it. It's like $12.99 for the 4K version, but we can also obviously have it on our iPads and everywhere else. But we watched it, and it was just glorious. You know, we had it at home. It was HDR, 4K HDR was Spider-Man Homecoming, and it was just perfect. You know, the picture was incredible. We're on the smaller 4K TV at the moment, but the picture was absolutely incredible. And we were watching it in cinema mode, but when we finished the movie, I kind of wound it back to maybe a key scene in the movie, and I watched it in that default mode. You know, the default mode that you kind of John Lewis plays everything in. That's really bright and shiny, and it looked stunning. It looked
awesome,
absolutely stunning. So the quality was there, the HDR was there. What I like always do with like Apple TV is I purchase the movie or rent the movie, start playing, and then press pause, and maybe kind of like, you know, go and get snacks, go and get a beer or whatever, and then it just gives it that moment to buffer
up. Yeah,
exactly. And then once I've done that, just let it go, and it was perfect. It was absolutely superb.
So you're not missing those discs thus far then? Because I know there was a bunch of problems with it a few weeks ago, when there were a lot of the 4K content on the Apple TV store got downgraded to HD or something.
Right, so really? No, because I think I've only watched 3, and they've all been 4K kind of HDR. You know, on the TVs when it's HDR, because it always does that slight change, and then it kind of says HDR in the top corner.
Yeah, so I read a few things. I think it was about 2 weeks ago where a lot of people had bought 4K HDR content on there, and then suddenly, for some reason, one day it just downgraded it to HD, and then they couldn't get back to the 4K version. So I was hoping that you didn't get sort of caught up in that, but obviously not the case.
No, it's really good. I mean, like I say, when I bought the Apple TV, I had like Spider-Man Homecoming, I had Blade Runner, all on pre-order with Amazon, and they were all kind of like $24.99 for the disc. And then you look on Apple TV, and Blade Runner, the original,
it was like £8, wasn't it, or something?
It was. It was like $7.99, and then Spider-Man was $13.99, and I was just like, cancel those pre-orders. You know, this Apple TV will pay for itself.
Absolutely.
Eventually. So no, I'm really enjoying it. It's a great purchase.
Great. I'm very tempted, got to say. What else did I do? I watched Stranger Things on Monday as well. Have you guys caught up with that? I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but
yes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we started watching it, and I wasn't sure about it after two episodes, because I thought it's not quite as good as the first season. But after episode 4 or 5, I think I was just hooked, and we absolutely caned it. We did it in 2 evenings. I think we just had to smash through the whole lot, basically.
Wow, 2 evenings.
I think it might even be better than season 1. I'm not sure, but I'm leaning that way.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that the first season had there was this moment where it was just amazing, you know, and this was something fresh. It felt like every 80s movie we've ever seen as a kid, but there was something fresh about it. Yeah. And so I was really excited. Then seeing season 2, I think the way that they went with season 2 and expanded on the characters a little bit more, I do think that it's better. I do think it's a better season. Did you watch the extras that you got on Netflix, which is beyond Stranger Things?
We started watching them, and then we stopped really quickly, because it's one of those things where I don't want to see those actors not playing the characters that they're playing right now, because it kind of pulls me out of it a bit. So I
Yes.
think I'll probably watch that once that whole season is once the next season's done, maybe they've stopped making it. I think I'll go back and watch those then. But watching those actors in real life at the minute, I was like, I don't want to see these people. You know, they're not the real deal that I've just been watching for the past 9 hours.
Exactly. It's like she's not 11. You know,
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown is. Millie Bobby Brown's really funny and very grown up for her age.
She's
you know.
British as well, which I was really surprised by. Yeah, I didn't know that.
There's a couple of Brits on the cast, and you get taken back, don't you, when they suddenly
Yeah.
go, "Oh, white governor," you know, you're like, "Oh, you know, where did that come from?" You know, and it's very interesting. What about you, Steve? How's your week been?
Good. I mean, I started at the same as Manny, so the weekend with a nice bonfire display.
Yeah.
As much as Manny had his experience, we went to sort of, or for want of a better phrase, an organised event. For some reason, it was a bit backwards. They set the fireworks off first, then lit the bonfire. And then they opened up with food, which for reasons unknown, I don't know why that was, because everyone was freezing watching the fireworks. And then we were treated to a car being on fire afterwards. So the guys who arranged the display, they gathered all the used fireworks up immediately afterwards and thrown them in the boot of the car. So, needless to say, the car ended up in flames. So ironically, we had the delay in waiting for the bonfire to be lit. In the meantime, we had the smaller fire in the field where the fireworks were, and they were all shocked at why it set on fire. So yeah.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
that sums up the Yorkshire bonfire, I think. You know, again, we're not doing ourselves any justice in making ourselves sound more than northern thick idiots here than putting warm fireworks in the boot of a car and wondering what the hell is going on. So that was fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. Beyond that, pretty much been consumed by Mario, which I'm sure we'll come on to later on in the pod. But the Switch has been getting some hammer this week, finding it very, very hard to put it down. And for me, being not the biggest Nintendo fan around, is very, very high praise indeed. So yeah, I'll save that bit for later on, but mostly consumed by Nintendo. So thank you, Mario.
That's just so cool. Yes, and it is. It's such a delight to play as well, isn't it? It's just like, you know, it's an amazing game. But we'll get to that in a mo. As for me, Friday was a big day for me. You know, being that Apple fanboy that I am, I had to go to London. I had to go to London because I had a strategy meeting in London, and so I had to come away. Yes, I had to go to London, and then my new iPhone X was being delivered to home. So I was just like, I cannot, you know, because normally, like when it's Apple delivery day, I'll make sure I'll work from home. But I had to go to London, so I couldn't get away from it. And so there was me. I'm just sitting there, kind of like looking at the DPD tracking Paulius around Tunbridge Wells as he was delivering iPhones that day. And it was so funny because we've got a Ring doorbell. So Nicola was at work and I was at work. So the Ring doorbell went, and I just said to Nicola, I said, "Look, I'm going into my meetings now. I had a day full of meetings. I said, I'm going into a meeting. If the doorbell goes, jump on it and tell Paulius that he needs to deliver it to a neighbour." So I saw the Ring door. I was in the meeting, kind of my watch flashed, and I saw that someone was at the door. You know, someone, because they ring the door, and then your watch and your phone kind of all flash, and then I saw that it had been answered. So Nicola kind of answered the ring and told him to go and deliver it somewhere else. So rather than kind of having to kind of come back on Saturday or try and do something like that, so she kind of had a bit of a grumble that I was making her while she was at work, kind of answering our doorbell and telling the delivery guy to find a neighbour and just deliver it to a neighbour. So, which is really nice. I met some new neighbours that I hadn't met before because he went all the way down the road to neighbours I hadn't met before. So
nice new trustworthy neighbours that you've got, definitely.
But they were very honest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was so funny because I said to him, "Oh, thanks very much. That's my new iPhone." And you saw the look and go, "Damn it, we could have sold it on eBay."
Yeah.
So my Friday was spent setting it up. You know, the great thing about setting up phones these days is it doesn't take too long. You know, it's a backup of the old one, it's a restore, and it's just it's a thing of beauty. I absolutely love my iPhone X. It's very cool. It's one of those I've bought a device that it just feels like an evolution, an evolution of the iPhone. It just feels very different, and unlocking and paying for things with your face is incredibly cool, and it still hasn't worn out. Yeah. And it works so well as well.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed at how well it works. It's just like
so it works a lot better than the stage demo that they did then, where it didn't work at all.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, just slightly.
I
think I only have once. I've had to kind of enter a code, kind of because you click twice on the screen and it will just enter the code. But the rest of the time, you just show it your face and that's it. So,
how are you finding that little notch at the top? Is that getting in the way of stuff, or is it weird to have that there when the rest is just all screen?
No, it is a bit weird because when you go, like when you're using Safari or maybe when you're using email, that's when it pops in and that's when you notice it. You really, if like my RSS feed's got a black background, so you don't really notice it. But it's when you've got a white background, an app with a white background, that's when you really notice it. And for the first evening, I was like, why did they do that? Why? And then, but come Saturday, it was absolutely fine. Saturday when I start sending around my animojis to everyone and start spamming people with that and being a monkey or a robot.
That's the reason why you bought it, isn't it?
Don't be that person.
Yeah, exactly. That is money well spent, sending a poo emoji to my brother with me talking. That was just money well spent, and it was just. But it's very cool. I'm absolutely loving it. I had 2 days. I had 2 days without a case.
Yeah.
And they were a scary couple of days. They really were.
I can't go with cases now on phones. I've had this Galaxy Note 8 for the past month or so now, and I've tried putting the case back on it, but it just feels horrible. It feels really tacky. I like the whole sort of like the glass feel now. I know I'm going to break it. I know it's going to end in tears, but I can't go back.
It's big enough without having a case on it anyway. It's like a tablet in your hand.
Yeah, I guess the iPhone X is about the same size, isn't it? I think.
Well, the iPhone X, because I held it up to my iPhone 7, and it's the same size. It's just the screen. Yeah. So it's not the size of like a 7 Plus or an 8 Plus. It's actually just the size of a 7, but the screen's bigger. Yeah. And they haven't squeezed in another row of icons. They've just made everything's just bigger. But it's gorgeous. It's really cool. It does quite a cool thing where you can take selfies. I take these all the time. It says it takes selfies because I'm down with the kids. It takes selfies, but what it does is it blurs the background. It blurs the background around you and enables you to do things. And it's just that sort of stuff. It's just really it's quite exciting. It's quite nice to just see these new kind of technologies. So
it's magic.
It is. So got that on Friday, and then I did the iPhone shuffle in the Chesson household. So Nicola got my 7. My dad is getting Nicola's 6S. That's what happens. I just kind of share the wealth down. So my dad was an Android user, the only green person in the family. So he's now going to come back to Apple, which is good. I'm happy. That makes me happy again. So
you've caught them all. They're all back in the fold. You can rest. You can sleep happy. Everything's okay.
Exactly. So it's really nice because it was always jarring when I sent a text message to my dad and it comes up as a green bubble instead of a blue. I was like, he's one of those.
Frown on Android users.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so apart from that, like I say, saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and then I guess the kind of thing that I know that you've got one as well, is that the big thing kind of this week was Xbox One X.
Yes, indeed. I wasn't sure I was going to get it for sure after Amazon sort of messed up those orders yesterday, of which mine was caught up in that, unfortunately. But it was a day late. That's fine, totally. And they gave me 20 quid credit, so I'm fine with that, totally.
Yes, there seemed to be. I mean, I think in our WhatsApp group and beyond, I think there was about 6 6 Xbox One X that were going to be delivered, weren't there, on yesterday? And I think only my 2 arrived. I was
think
okay.
So. Yeah,
I felt really bad.
I think even Microsoft screwed it up, didn't they? Because I think James was saying that they had a load that were going to be delivered to work, but they just didn't show at all. No, which is shocking, really. But.
Absolutely. Stuart, just had Popcorn Stuart. He had 2 on order, one from Amazon and one from Microsoft, and neither turned up either. And I still don't think his Amazon one, the time of recording, his Amazon one has turned up, but I don't think his Microsoft one has shipped yet.
Wowzers. He's not
really
really a happy
bizarre.
boy. Well, hang on. Why did he buy 2?
I think, I don't know. I mean, I bought 2 because there's one for me and one for Nicola.
Yeah.
So I'm curious whether... I'm curious to see how the second one runs on a 1080p TV.
Yeah, indeed.
Because our second TV is a small 30-inch, and you can't get 4K down to that size, can you?
Not yet. I don't think so, no. I think the lowest you can go is about 49, isn't it, I think, with 4K sets.
But I don't know why Stuart got 2. I'll have to ask him. I'll ask him.
Having said that, I'm literally just staring at a 40-inch 4K monitor, so I'm talking completely out my arse there. So yeah, you can do it. Because I'm literally staring at one right now.
I might have to have another purchase, because it's the second screen, because like Nicola gets the big screen in the movie room and the living room, and then I've got the second screen. So it's like I watch her playing in kind of HDR and 4K now, and then I'm just on my 1080p. That's why I bought the second one.
Yeah.
But, it arrived, and I must admit, this thing... Did you? You probably saw all of our screenshots, Steve. But this was it's a thing of beauty. It's a gorgeous design.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous design. It's so heavy as well. That's the thing I didn't get.
It's
about
dense.
it. Like that thing is packed. Like you feel like you could brain someone. But if you drop that on someone's head, they are not going to survive. It is. Is
that how you
really
judge
dense.
How heavy things are?
Yeah, like can you break someone's head with
death.
it, or is it as heavy as the original PS3?
It must be the vapor chamber and
I think so.
All of the goodness that's packed into there. All of those teraflops.
Yeah.
They weigh a lot.
They do. Heavy flops for sure.
But I must admit, I was very impressed. I was very impressed at how quick I was up and running, because I'd spent the last couple of weeks downloading 4K assets, making sure they were downloaded, even downloaded the 93 gig Quantum Break assets, 4K, which was bonkers. And it's really funny. I turned on Quantum Break and went, yeah, it's not that good, and deleted it.
Why? Just no.
That's
don't
time
do
you're
it.
not getting back.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of made me think, because if you were on a capped broadband, then that could take up your monthly limit, couldn't it? Imagine if you allowed 100 gig a month on your capped broadband. That's almost just downloading 4K assets for Quantum Break is almost everything that you can have that month.
Yeah, I know, it's shocking. A lot of the file sizes are huge. Like I think most of the first party stuff is over 100 gig, isn't it? Like Gears, I think is 107. Forza's around. Possibly around 100, maybe high 90s. But yeah, these file sizes are just crazy now, absolutely crazy.
So have you been tempted, Steve? I know you're buying a house, aren't you? You're doing adult things.
I'm living like a sensible life, or trying to do at the minute anyway. So we're currently getting a house built. Should be ready in January. We went to see it over the weekend, and it's just about getting a roof at the minute.
Wow.
So it's got all the support beams, no tiles or anything, but yeah, it's pretty good. The Xbox One X, yes. I'm very tempted, but I don't have a 4K telly just yet. So I'm kind of waiting till we move out to get the 4K set and then eventually get the Xbox One X. I'm not bothered about it being the Scorpio edition, albeit it would be nice to have. But by the same token, if I bought one now, with where we are at my parents' house, is we wouldn't have the internet to sustain 4K assets at all. The Wi-Fi is just shocking around here. It's a miracle. It's a miracle out here at the minute, and we've not dropped connection as it stands. So we got back from holiday last Sunday, and I left Call of Duty 4 Remaster updating for about a week because it had a 25 gigabyte update, and it got done in just about a week, just because the connection from the router to my bedroom is so poor. And because I don't have a wire to run through the entire house, it would take a year to download a 100 gigabyte game. So it's something I want, yes, and it's brilliant to see consoles go into 4K. I'm not a cynic in terms of it. It doesn't have any games this, that, and the other, because just playing other first-party games in 4K will be fantastic to see. Like, play Call of Duty when Star Wars comes out, seeing that in 4K HDR, that will be phenomenal. So yes, I will be jumping on board, but it will be looking towards the middle end of next year, I imagine, when the prices probably subside a little bit, and I make the jump from my S to my X.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. If you move into a new house, you have to buy a new TV, right? So that's probably the time.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's the law, isn't it?
It is pretty much the law.
It's the unwritten rule. So we've got to gauge the size of the room, get the big telly, get the X. That's the games room. The living room is the games room. That's the dream, anyway.
I like the way you think. So Manny, what was, apart from being dense and being able to break someone's head, what did you think? What did you think of the of the overall console, and what have you played so far on it?
Well, the first thing is like the actual setup is just so smooth, isn't it? Because I don't know if you did the same, but there was like an Xbox One X preparation app on the Xbox dashboard a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I ran that, backed up all my stuff to an external drive, and then obviously the ports on the back of this new one are in the same place as the Xbox One S that I've just taken out. Plug it in, plugged in the external drive, and it just said, "Oh, you've backed up all your stuff. Do you want to restore it?" That was it. That's the whole process. Fantastic. Yeah. Which is great, I thought. Although I was sat there thinking, I do kind of miss the days when you get a new console and you get something new, like a new dashboard or something. You fire it up for the first time and it's different, right? This generation is not that. I kind of miss that a little bit. So as much as it was nice, like you were talking about your phone earlier, everything just carries over nowadays, which is great. But you do sort of miss that kind of new tech feel from that whole process now, I think. Do you feel the same way about that, or are you happy with stuff that just works?
Well, I mean, I'm happy with. I was happy that the fact that mine arrived at like 9:30, and by 10:15 I was playing a game, which kind of really, because normally day one is plugging a game in, downloading a patch, and just enjoying the box. But no, I know what you mean. But I was thinking that throughout the day. I was thinking, if you had just bought a 4K TV for this, if you had maybe had an Xbox One, or even a PlayStation 4, and then you bought this because this was something quite special, then I just thought how your mind would be blown. And as much as I sat back and was like, holy crap, the graphics are amazing, at the same time, I kind of the same as you. It's like it's the same. It's I'm playing Forza, which I've played. I'm playing Call of Duty World at War, or World War II, which I've played. But they're all just shinier now. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, but they're all just shinier now. So there was that. But I totally get what you mean, because it's half of the fun, like when you get a new iOS, like when iOS 11 dropped on my iPad or whatever, it's finding out the new things. So where some people are like, oh, I don't like it because it's different. For me, that's what I love. That's the buzz for me. It's finding that new thing. It's finding what's new and how I use it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we ever go back to those days now, because you don't know if the next Xbox is just going to carry this on now, or we're going to get a whole new system, whole new OS. This might be it for now. That whole side of things is just going to carry on going. In terms of the games, right? What did I play? I made some notes. Forza was the first thing that I fired up.
Right.
That game is absolutely stunning. Like, that might be one of the best games I've ever seen, I think. Like, in terms of visual quality alone, it's just staggering.
That's really cool. That's really good to hear from you, because you kind of experienced 4K gaming with your PC, haven't you?
Yeah, indeed.
You played Forza Horizon and Gears and stuff like that. So I was like, I can't wait to hear what you think about it, because you've already kind of experienced that 4K. But I think in Suzuka, in the rain,
that's what I tried. You told me to try that, and I jumped straight in on it. And wow, it's just the actual lighting is just stunning, absolutely stunning. I think a lot of it is the HDR more than the resolution, to be honest. The resolution makes everything look nice and smooth, but HDR, I think that's the thing that makes it all pop,
I think when you see that big... I posted a picture on Twitter yesterday. There was the big kind of Ferris wheel at Suzuka. That just looked incredible. The reflection in the puddles was just amazing. It was just so amazing to see. And what I liked about it was I took a screenshot, and then I kind of clicked the button, and I went into the image editor or media editor, whatever it is on the Xbox, and there was a little tab at the top which you could then choose SD or HDR, so you could actually just toggle.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, so it takes screenshots in HDR then, so you can swap between the two. So if I shared it with someone else, I guess they'd probably get just the one version that they'd be able to view. I'm not sure how that works now in terms of sharing stuff.
I think if you share it on your dash, and if you share it on your dash, and someone like Steve, he's got an Xbox One S, he would be able to see it in HDR if you had a HDR TV, and or if you didn't have one, if you just had a normal Xbox, you would just see it in SD. But if you have an Xbox One X or an S, you can then toggle between the two, because that's what I was saying. I was like, this is standard, this is HDR, this is standard, and it was just really good just to see the changes of which was quite nice.
Great stuff. Speaking of the differences between HDR and normal, have you fired up Gears of War 4 yet?
Yes.
Have you been into the menus and turned on? There's like a split screen mode you can turn on where it's got HDR is on the left hand side of the screen and off on the right.
No.
Try that. No. It's great. If there's ever if someone comes around your house and you want to show them something, as to say this is what HDR is, that's perfect for it.
Right, I'm off.
Bye.
It's brilliant.
Amazing.
It's the best thing that I've seen for showing what HDR actually is, because you can't really explain it that well.
No.
You talk to people about it's extra colours and you get extra detail from the contrast, but you kind of need to see it. Wow. I think.
So it literally splits the screen. One half is HDR, one. That's really good. I'm going to try that this evening.
Yeah, do. I did it and I couldn't see much of a difference, and I looked at the sky. When you look at the sky, it's like, yeah, okay, there's masses of details here, and there's kind of a smushy mess over here. So
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. So what else have you been playing? You've only had it today, but what else have you been playing today? Have you been doing what I was doing, like bouncing around different games?
Yeah, I just jumped into all of them. So I did Forza, which was amazing. Gears 4 was interesting because I played through that on the PC in 4K last year when it came out, I think, because I was playing with you guys, wasn't I? And so go into the Xbox One X version, you're basically getting the same experience that you get on the PC in terms of the graphical settings and the frame rate and stuff. It's pretty much the same. So it's kind of like the top wax PC settings are basically there now, which is great. But obviously it's in a box which is like a third of the size of my PC, which is fantastic.
That makes me so happy that you said that. I want to cry.
Yeah.
Finally, I've got what I wanted.
But again, but you do get that HDR, so it actually looks way better than the PC version now, I think.
Right.
I know some of the PC versions, like Forza 7, is HDR now on PC, so that difference is not going to be there for too long. But yeah, I was surprised by just how better Gears looked, actually. Have you fired it up at all? Sorry, did I ask? I can't remember.
Yeah. No, Gears of War. Find up Gears of War. Play through the first. I put the campaign on casual and played for the first couple of levels just to kind of. And I jumped kind of mid story as well, just to see some of the very brighter levels as well, to see what that looked like. And I was very impressed. And I showed Nicola when she got home as well, and even she was like, "Wow, that looks really good." And I was like,
there's so much extra detail, man. It's fantastic. What else? That's right. Halo Wars 2, I jumped into.
All right.
You can see a difference in that, but it's not massive because obviously the viewpoint is kind of playing into that. There's a lot more detail on the map, but because your viewpoint is so far out, you don't get a lot of character detail and stuff anyway in that game. But it does look nice and crisp. So that's pretty good. Halo 5, I tried. That's a weird one because it renders at 4K, which is nice, so everything looks crisp, but the textures are still what they were before. So you look at the ground and everything just looks terrible. You look at the sky and everything looks great. So it's a really weird one.
Yes, so there's no HDR, is there, for Halo 5?
No HDR, no. But I think just seeing that running at 60 frames a second, just with clean lines, is nice. And then weirdly, showing up on my list as Xbox One X compatible was Gears of War 3.
Yes.
So they've done a patch for that, which I didn't know about. So I fired that up, and it kind of looks amazing. If they're going to do this with Xbox 360 games, that's a huge benefit, I think, because it renders, I think, at 4K, runs at 60 frames a second, and I think they've cleaned up the textures in it as well. So it looked almost like a current generation game, which I was really surprised by. If they go down that route with a lot of games, I think that's a huge bonus, I think.
Absolutely, I saw that and instantly fired up Viva Pinata just to see. I was like, there's another thing. I was like, Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise. I was like, oh, damn it, James, what have you been doing? You know, like, sort it out. But no, it looked, I totally agree. You know, it did look clean and fresh and new. And I was just like, this is fantastic. You know, I love playing Horde in Gears of War 3. So I was like, I might jump back in.
Yeah, I was there's a lot of detail in that game that I just didn't know was there before because you kind of couldn't see it at 720p, and then you scale this up to 4K, and it's like, wow, okay, there was a lot of work went into that art that nobody ever saw until now, which is kind of great.
So, anything else, or was that your kind of?
That was everything that I tried, yeah, because those are the only ones that are showing up as compatible. I've got Hitman as well, but that hadn't finished downloading by the time I came up here. The one other thing I did check was to see if they'd updated any of the apps, which they don't seem to have done. So things like YouTube still doesn't have HDR support, Amazon still doesn't have HDR support, which is a little bit disappointing when you think about what they're trying to do with that machine. But hopefully they'll kind of get there with that at some point.
I did hear that the Amazon Video and Netflix, they were rolling out. Amazon Video is definitely rolling out kind of over the next couple of weeks to support 4K and HDR, because they have a lot of things in Ultra HD, don't they? A lot of the originals and like Man in a High Castle and things like that are all in 4K. So I think the only other game that I played, there were the two others actually. I played Shadow of War, jumped into Shadow of War, and that looked really nice. It's probably maybe what you were seeing on the PlayStation 4 Pro, it may be just kind of some of that. But the Shadow of War looked really good, and I was quite surprised because it almost looked kind of late last gen when I fired it up, and now it looks this gen, and I was it's actually cleaned up quite nice. And then the other game that I'm playing at the moment, and we'll talk a bit more about it in a moment, but is Call of Duty World War II. And Call of Duty World War II, which is HDR, it's now 4K compatible. It looks amazing. Looks
really
absolutely amazing. I was there's this part that you're kind of walking down these cobbled streets of Paris, and the detail and the crispness of this, and I've been playing a good fair old chunk of the campaign before, and then I fired it up yesterday, and it just looks absolutely stunning. I was just really impressed at how great this looks, and again, kind of the kind of wife acceptance was that Nicola was like, that looks really good. She was like, I've never seen a game look like that before. So World War II, Call of Duty World War II is really showcasing kind of what a third party can do with the 4K assets.
I'll have to stick that on my boomerang list, I think, because it's one that I probably wouldn't purchase, because I guess I'll play through the campaign, which is probably going to be about 6-7 hours, and then I'd be done with it. But for a rental, definitely, for sure.
So all in all, Manny, you're happy with your Xbox One X. You're kind of with that Scorpio edition. Did you got the Scorpio edition? Did you? You got that? Yeah,
I did get the Scorpio. Yeah, which looks nice. I'm not going to say it's the best looking console in the world. I think I might even prefer the look of the Xbox One S, possibly.
Right.
But having played the games today, I'm happy enough that I've seen a glimpse of what it's capable of. Let's put it that way. So when stuff comes out next year, I think we're in for some real treats there. Yes,
because you're right. Right now, I know there's never going to be a game that is only for X, but right now we're seeing games that have been out for a while that are now getting these kind of assets. But it will be nice to actually see games like Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, those games that are really going to kind of showcase it a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, and I think if they've polished stuff up to this level and it looks this good, then the stuff that's made for that console is going to look spectacular.
Yes, I think. Yes. Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Well, let's should we jump into what we've been playing this week? Steve, do you want to kick off? What have you been playing?
Yes, so as I briefly touched upon earlier, Mario has pretty much consumed my life. It's kind of the game that I was, basing my decision to buy a Switch on. I played Zelda, and that was really, really good, but I knew there were better things to come in terms of the Mario games that are coming out. I'm quite a bit of a Pokemon fan, so the idea of Pokemon coming out later on as well, that kind of drew me in. But Mario has just been something else. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan. My first Nintendo console was a GameCube. We were a Sega family when I was a child.
Right.
So I think that kind of maybe fueled the fire of why I thought Mario Sunshine is so good. And everybody else in the WhatsApp group seemed to disagree with that. So,
strongly in some cases.
It nearly got violent, I think. I think friendships were nearly broken over that, but it's just superb. In any way you play it, handheld mode, console mode, docked, it just looks brilliant. The power they can get out of that Switch to make it look so shiny and nice is phenomenal. And I know it's not a massive game like your Call of Duties and your Gears, that sort of thing, but it looks brilliant in its own right. And the treatment they've done to Mario is just so good. I've not played a game in so long that I can just pick up and play and not shout at the telly, nearly launch my controller through the window. It's just nice to play a game that's fun. You just pick up and lose yourself for hours and hours and hours in it. I think it, personally, it's one of the best, if not the best Mario game there's been. Again, I know that's a statement that will break opinions again, but to me, it's just superb. It's just a brilliant game, and I could easily sit there and play 4 hours of it. It'll feel like 20 minutes, and then it was light outside, and now it's dark outside. And that to me is what a game should be. So that's taken pretty much all this week. I just got to New Donk City because I've been spending a lot of time in the worlds beyond. Once I've collected enough moons to power the Odyssey, I've kind of spent a little bit more time in there. So I've just got there, kind of beaten the initial boss, but then just made it nice and shiny. Got the sun out in New Donk City, and now I'm kind of free roaming about. I gave a brief go to the skipping rope challenge last night. I got the moon. I got to about 36 jumps, and then instantly knew if I kept going, I'd be up all night and get very angry and very annoyed with myself. So I kind of left it there. I got the moon. I was happy with that, and we'll come back to it. I saw one of my friends who got 150 jumps on that, and I'm like, oh, I know. I was like, I couldn't do that. I had no way.
Is there a leaderboard? Is there a leaderboard for the jumps?
Yeah, if you go to where the skipping rope thing is, there's a little screen that you can interact with, and it can show you your friends list leaderboard and the worldwide leaderboard.
Right.
And I was talking to some guys that I met up with on Sunday, and I think there's some sort of thing, a workaround where if you get one of the old Wavebird GameCube controllers, if you get the controller port of the Switch, if you turn the turbo mode on that kind of is a little workaround, and it does it for you, which to me is a little bit cheating, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
There's no skill involved in
Although
that.
we have got one of those in the attic, so I'm thinking about digging that out now.
Yeah, if you hear him like disappear, that's where. So there is a little leaderboard, so if you want to kind of have bragging rights, you can do. But to me, I gave up before I got hooked. But it's just brilliant, I've not been able to put it down. The Xbox One and the PS4 have been played mildly in between. But every time I get home from work, I just sit on the sofa, or while the other half's watching telly, while Anna's watching telly, and I'll just play that with my headphones in, and it's brilliant. I love it.
New Donk City's it's very funky, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love the music. How far are you in? How far are you in, Manny? Because you're playing it as well, aren't you?
I'm not very far in at all. I've only played it for a couple of hours. I'm still in the first sort of major zone you get to, which is the one with all the Mexican hats.
Yes.
So I'm just sort of halfway through that currently.
Right.
I'm guessing New Donk City is quite a way in, is it? Or is it not too far after that?
I think it's about 6 or 7 levels in, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, it's something like that. I think it comes after... Oh, where does it come after now? The Underwater World, does it, I think?
Yes,
It
yeah.
comes with
No,
the
there's
Lost
Lost
World.
World.
Yeah, the Lost World.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two water worlds. I managed to fall on another water world, and I was like, why? Because you have a choice between a snow world and another water world, and I chose the water world because snow is just you're equally slipping everywhere, and I was like, why did I do this? But luckily there's quite a bit of beach, and you do get a pirate outfit, which is just still kind of one of my favourite things about this game is just the different outfits. It is just, I was saying last week about how I keep sending random messages to people, and they're like, I don't understand what you're showing me. Like, why is Mario in bathing trunks? He's like, why is he in shorts? It's like, because he is. That's my answer. And it's just, but I'm actually loving. So how many moons have you got? How many moons are you in, Steve?
I'd say about 100, 150. So I've got quite a few. Like I say, I've been spending. That number might be wrong, but I've been spending a bit more time in the area once I've got enough to power the Odyssey up. So I've just been trying to spend as much time as I can. I know there's some areas that you need to come back to later on, but I've just been engrossed. Like you said, New Donk City, the sound to that, the theme to it. It's just so catchy. You just end up humming it.
Yes.
When you stop playing it. And just bouncing off. Taxis, riding around on a scooter, like you say, in a pilot's outfit, or seeing Mario in a poncho, or a rubber ring and a snorkel. It's a nice change to know what could be quite a boring thing for Mario to be. That it's not just the same old Mario. It can be different things, which I know people don't like. But like you say, when it comes to something that you're sending a picture of Mario in his swimming trunks to people in a message, that's kind of the beauty of it, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I just cannot get enough of that, and it's really interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I've for something with Mario Odyssey, I've played a lot more handheld. I think it's because of my commutes and because Nicola's playing Stardew Valley on the big TV, and I just think that I've been playing a lot of it on handheld. So I haven't really experienced it on the TV yet, but it's just like a lot of my Switch time tends to be kind of as a handheld console, and it's and I love it. It's quite cool. What about you, Manny? Are you kind of a bit of both? Are you kind of docking it? I was going to say donking it then.
Donking, I'm definitely new donking it, yeah. No, I think I'm pretty much the opposite of you, I think. I pretty much just play it docked.
Right.
Faye tends to pick it up and play it handheld a lot, like she's doing Stardew Valley and stuff, but I generally prefer to play it docked because then I can use a Pro Controller.
Yes.
Because that's just the way that I prefer to play it, I guess. I have played it handheld and it looks great, looks brilliant. But the dock version, I don't think there's too much difference. I think it renders slightly higher resolution, but it's basically the same.
Yeah. No, I quite look forward to kind of putting... Nicola's working this weekend, so I might be I've got like the whole TV to myself. I'm just going to be going through, like, I've got to try and pull myself away from the Xbox One X. But like I say, I've got a commute on Friday, and I'll just be playing kind of Mario then, and I just jump on the train. I'm just enjoying getting on the train. But as you were saying, Steve, before you know it, an hour train journey is over.
Yeah.
You look up, and I'm at London Bridge, and I'm like, how did this happen? And it's just because I've been playing Mario all morning, and it's such a great game. It really is.
That's the sign of a great game, innit? But is it better than Zelda? That's the question.
I just don't know. I don't know.
To start this
right
discussion
now.
early, because I think we're going to need at least a month for it. Let's start it now.
I think it will. I think it will. We need to kind of circle Thomas in as well, but he's gonna.
For sure.
He's gonna. But looking at kind of start talking about kind of game of the year, and you look at the game of the year. For me, I'm almost playing all three of them now, and they're all on the same thing, which is the Switch. It's Zelda, it's Stardew Valley, and it's Mario. And then no disrespect to any of those awesome games I'm playing on Xbox and PlayStation, but those games are just amazing. Those three games are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think this year is going to go down in history, isn't it? It's one of the all-time greats. Like, what did they say? Was it 2007 when you had Half-Life 2 and all the rest of it that came out?
Right.
Then there was one around 2011 that was really good, but I think this year is going to that might top them all. I think just the sheer number of quality titles we've had this year is crazy, absolutely crazy.
Everything's just, there's so much quality, and even not that it never is a stamp of quality, but even the indie titles are really kind of coming with they've come away from maybe the quirkiness of it, and they're just actually kind of amazing deep experiences. Like I say, Stardew Valley, I was talking about it last week. I'm still playing that. I still kind of play that do a day in Stardew Valley. I'm getting towards the end of year 2 now, and I'm just that. I wake up thinking about that game. I wake up thinking, oh, I've got to wake up in Stardew Valley and do what I need to do. It's really cool. I just absolutely love it. So, so you're going to be a lot more time because I think there's about 900. Is there 900 moons in Mario Odyssey?
Yeah,
900.
Yeah, I've seen an Instagram post of somebody like 999, and I'm like, that. You could just spend literally forever playing that game because, like I said, there's so many little. You see little, sneaky paths or like a little, area that you didn't see beforehand. There's going to be so many different moons hiding everywhere. There's the parrot that tells you little secrets of where they're hiding. There's ones buried under the ground. And then there's the purple coins and everything to buy the unlockables. The hats, the clothes. There's so much to keep you going back. Just beyond the moons. So. I mean, there's got to be some sort of something happens when you collect all the moons, but I don't think that'll ever happen. I'm not a completionist, and I have to collect everything, but I'll certainly give it a go and see how long it actually takes me before I finally give up and say I physically can't find any more without looking at any tutorials, because that's there's no point doing it if I'm going to look on how to find them. So. But no, it's it could last forever and a day. I think
it really does feel like kind of back to the N64 days. Like Mario 64. It really feels like you're kind of playing that. It feels like you're playing a spiritual successor, a sequel to that game. And I just absolutely love it. I just think it's the Mario game that I've always wanted after 64, and because it is just a kind of nice kind of open world kind of exploration, and like I say, there are moons everywhere.
Yeah. The bits that I played so far kind of reminded me of Galaxy as well, because you get that like every sort of level is just a different spin on something. There's a new mechanic in it, and there's something that just keeps you going to the different worlds and stuff. Like there's always something new, something fresh waiting for you. Which I can't remember, was Mario 64 like that? It's been such a long time since I played it. I remember it being 3D open world, but I don't remember there being that kind of that trail of new mechanics sort of leading you through.
No, I think it was more kind of obstacles, wasn't it? It was more kind of
I think so.
Gotta find out. I think there were maybe a couple that were showing you, because if you think about it, that was the first time we kind of really went kind of deep 3D. So I think occasionally there was, here's something you need to kick, or here's something you need to ground pound on. But I don't think this kind of new mechanic just for this world has existed. I think 3D World did a good job of that, didn't it? It was like, you're going to go into this world. Here's this one thing that we've created just for this level. You're never going to play anything like it ever again for the rest of the game, but it's like, hey, what the hell, and that I think there's kind of a bit of that in there as well.
Yeah, indeed. How they keep coming up with this stuff, I will never know, because it's all new, it's all fresh. I don't know where they get it from. It's crazy. Yes. Nintendo are just different, completely different.
They really are. So your Pro Controller, Steve, are you waggling? Because I know it kind of tries to force waggle on you, doesn't it, when you kind of fire it up? You should be waggling.
Yeah, I know. It's like it tries to make you play it detached every time with the Joy-Cons, doesn't it? It's just like, oh yeah, remember you can play this way, and it's like, does anybody really play that way? I've played a couple of games like that. I give Zelda a whirl. With the Joy-Cons attached, it can be quite comfortable if you sit in the right position, but for me, I don't have the Pro Controller, so I just dock it in the the controller grip that you get with the console. And to me, fine. It does make it a little bit awkward with the motion controls when you throw your cap in the air and do your spin attack with Cappy. But I've not really had any major issues with it, I must admit. But yeah, why they think that or feel there's a need to remind you to play with the Joy-Cons detached every time you boot up, and it stays there a long time, that message as well. It's not as if it's a 2 second or 3 second alert. It does stay there for some time. But no, I've not done that yet. The Pro Controller's coming. I can see it happening as I'm spending more and more time with the Switch, that it is more comfortable to play it with the tablet stood up and the Joy-Cons detached, because it is quite uncomfortable to hold it for quite a long time. So I've bought a case for it that doubles as a stand, so I can see me buying the Pro Controller shortly to play it that way. Because I'm like you, Anthony, I play more in handheld mode than docked mode. I guess that's just probably because we have the telly on pretty much all the time in this house, and I don't get much of a say in it. So, I think I spend more time in handheld mode than docked mode.
And it just, like I say, it's such a great feeling just having that console kind of in the middle of in the palm of your hands. It's just so it's the Nintendo console that I've always wanted, and it just is, as you were saying, Manny, 2017 is just such a fantastic year, but it's the return of Nintendo, I think, because I think they really are kind of back to kind of the heady heights that they had with the GameCube and things like that. So I'm happy. It's a good year.
It's kind of weird how some consoles just feel right, and you can't quite put your finger on why it's better than others, but the Switch just feels right for some reason. Everything about it is spot on, from the software, UI, the OS, everything about it just feels right. I don't really know why.
I wonder what we're going to get. I wonder what we're going to get next year. What's next for us? We've got Mario, we've got Zelda. Zelda's DLC is coming out in December, which I'm looking forward to. But what's next? What's next? What's beyond Mario Odyssey? I know there's a Kirby game coming. But what have we got? What are going to be the big titles? And I'm excited to see what they're going to offer, because I just think they know they've got a hit now. They know they've got success with this. So what are they about to give us?
Yeah, indeed. I'm guessing it will get another Pokemon game. Have they confirmed anything on that front?
There's something being worked on. They've not really said what, beyond just saying there's a Pokemon title coming out for it. So whether it's a kind of a 3D, upscaling of a 3DS Pokemon, or if it's something different, I don't know. But it's got to be something significant, I imagine. But it's Pokemon. It's Pokemon. It'll sell.
Yes.
And probably some sort of interactivity between that and the 3DS, I imagine. Maybe, I don't know.
But maybe imagine an open world, a kind of a cross between kind of Zelda and Pokemon. That would just be. I know we've got Xenoblade Chronicles that's coming out, and that's kind of having a bit of Breath of Wild content in there as well. So imagine if there was an open world Pokemon game that had kind of mixtures and elements from those other games. It would just be mind blowing, and would, as you say, Steve, it would just sell like hotcakes, wouldn't it? It would be incredible. So that's Super Mario Odyssey. So what else have you been playing this week?
When it's got a lock in, like I mentioned earlier, I've been playing Call of Duty 4, the HD remake. It was inevitable that was going to come out as a standalone when it was bundled as with Infinite Warfare. It's Activision. It was going to happen. It was for all they wanted to say, no, we're never going to do it. It was going to happen. So I'm playing through that at the moment, starting on Veteran from the get-go, because I want to play it and go through it and enjoy it, but I don't have many plans on playing it more than once. I like yourself, use Boomerang to rent my games quite frequently, just to save money for the games that I'm really bothered about, like Mario. So I'll only buy the games that I'm really, really bothered for. So the intention is play it on Veteran, get the achievements for that and enjoy it again, then send it back. I'm just about at the Gillies in the Mist level, so the ones where you're the sniper with Captain Price or Lieutenant Price as it was back then.
Yeah.
That's a bit rage-inducing, so I kind of break that up with a little bit of Mario between, because playing on a veteran level from the get-go is quite hard after not playing that game for quite a long time. So it can be interesting. We'll leave it at that. And beyond that, again, another game I've got from Boomerang is Kingdom Hearts HD, which the Kingdom Hearts games, both of them, are probably my top 2 games of all time. I played them when I was quite young, back on the days of the PS2. and I've loved them ever since. So they look really good as well. I know we had the HD version on PS3, but on the PS4 they look really nice as well. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through the first one, due to start the second one, but again, it's just pending Mario giving me a break and having some TV time where I can. So a lot to play, which is a great situation to be in, but at the same time, it's trying to fit them all in and just give them an equal share, and so you've not got something there gathering dust. But when games like Mario are taking up your time and they're so good, you can't help but kind of sink your hours into that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. When you get a game, it's not like, well, I've been playing this for 4 hours, so I must stop. It's like I just don't want to stop. Which is kind of where I am with Stardew Valley as well sometimes, because I haven't played as much Mario as I should be playing because of I've got chickens and and parsnips and melons and beer.
You're
to
responsible
make,
for other living
so
things.
much stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel really bad because I haven't played that for 3 weeks. So I feel like I've left my village now. They're all disappointed with me. Just left this beer to rot. Left the eggs to rot on the floor.
Down.
Yeah, shocking. The mines are overflowing. It's horrible.
So what have you been playing, Manny? Apart from not playing Stardew Valley, but what have you been playing?
Yeah, I know. I really need to get back to Stardew Valley. Damn it. The thing that's taken up most of my time for the past 3 weeks is the thing that I just did the review for on the site, which is Shadow of War, the very self-serious Lord of the Rings game from Monolith. Did you guys play the first one at all? Shadow of Mordor?
Yes, I did, yeah.
No,
You did?
I didn't.
Okay, we got a yay and a no. It's the basic gist of this one is kind of the same as the first one. So it's like an open world action game with Batman style combat where you're running around the map, picking up things from the floor and trying to defeat your way through a load of orcs and through these captains, which are governed by this rather famous Nemesis AI system, which comes back here in a much better fashion. So what that does is it kind of assigns these captain orcs, these kind of boss orcs, with random qualities. So they'll be fully voiced with different voices, and they'll be assigned a series of different perks. So basically, every single time you face one, it's kind of like a different enemy, which is great. So it gives them personality, it gives them life, and it makes the game kind of worth playing through, really. Because outside of that, combat's okay, but it's Batman. It's the same system.
Wow.
This one though it's kind of crazy because it's like they've gone. It's like they took all of the ideas that were on the cutting room floor from the first one and just chucked them into the game and said, "Bugger it, ship it. Let's see what it's like. Let's see what reception we get. We might not get to make this again. Here you go. This is every single idea we've ever had. It's in one game. Enjoy." It's honestly it's bonkers. I don't know where to even start talking about it. So much stuff in there. Let's see. Let's see what I can pick out. Okay, so it's kind of the same as the first one. So you're trying to work your way up through these captains, up through the ranks to defeat a boss in each territory. They've expanded the territories now to 5, which I think is up from 2 in the first game. And at the end of the game, they've thrown these massive sieges in. So the idea is you're defeating your way up through the captain orcs, building up your own army, and then taking on this big fortress kind of thing, which is a big set piece, which kind of sort of plays out like a battlefield game. So you kind of you start the siege with your army. You have to smash your way through the walls of the fortress. Then you need to capture various control points, and at the end of that, there's a big boss battle right at the very end. Mm-hmm. So you need to do that 5 times across the game, and that takes up about 35 hours worth of gameplay because they weave the story in and out and side missions and all sorts of stuff. But then on top of them expanding that side of things, they've also chucked in a whole management simulation on top of that. So once you've got your army of orc captains, you can kind of manage them and send them off to do things for you. So kind of like Assassin's Creed 2, if you remember that. You can send people off on missions to sort of raid enemy territories or level up, or you can send them to the fighting pits to level up, or you can make them your bodyguard, or you can try and change the traits they've got to match some of the other captains, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. There's all sorts of stuff in this game that it makes it kind of messy but glorious at the same time, because there's so much stuff. Your focus is all over the place, but it's never less than like just interesting and crazy. There's new stuff coming at you constantly, to the point where I was getting tutorial messages. I think it was about 30 hours in. They were still throwing new stuff at you 30 hours into the game, which is bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And then once you finish the main story campaign, and then it opens up into another 20 hours, where you get to replay all of the sieges, and they throw them at you in a higher difficulty level. And then you're sort of building up your army, building up your orcs again, and that's where the controversy over the loot boxes comes in, because at that point, that's where the loot boxes suddenly become, very prevalent and very kind of very easy to shortcut your way through, because you're basically grinding to try and get these higher level orcs, whereas you could just pay for them, basically, which is, I think, is where the controversy comes in. I don't mind it so much because I wasn't tempted to use them throughout the entire game, and I got 40 hours out of it, and I didn't need to pay for a single loot box, so that's fine. If people want to play it that way, I don't really have a problem with it. But I can see why it's been a little bit controversial, because it does kind of funnel you that direction as soon as you hit this point. Right. But yeah, it's such a weird mess of a game. Like, everyone should play it just to see how crazy it is. Oh god, I haven't even spoken about the character customization. So your own character, Talion, who's kind of boring, has six different pieces of armor, 2 different weapons that you can upgrade, and you're constantly picking up new ones. Then each of the weapons you pick up has an upgrade system on top of that. And on top of that, you've got another upgrade system with gems, where you can combine them all together and then sort of socket them into your weapons and into your armor. So it's just non-stop, like system upon system upon system upon system upon system, and it's crazy. I don't know how they released it this way, but it's kind of great.
Well, it makes Destiny 2 sound easy, with your light levels and trying to figure that out. But
yeah. Absolutely.
But it sounds fantastic. I mean, like I say, you've stuck a review up on our site, so you've written a really great review, which is up on gamerslostspot.com. And that was such a great read, and that really did make me feel I want to play this now, because you're right, it does just sound bonkers. But I didn't play the first one. Can I jump in now? Can I jump into this?
You absolutely can. Yeah, the story sort of picks up where the last one left off, but there's a nice little prologue where they tell you all the stuff you need to know. The story is crazy as well, by the way, just to set you up. It's bonkers as well. It makes no sense. It's totally weird. Like, it shifts all the way through from being really, really, really self-serious to, like, just, having you talk to this kind of crazy orc who's, like, got an Australian accent, and he's called Bruce. And you're like, what? Where did this come from? There's stuff like that all the way through it. It's just all over the place. It's like you had 4 different teams working on the game or something. They've all just chucked everything into this one pot, which makes it unique, I think.
Wow, excellent stuff. So you highly recommend it?
I recommend it, yeah, with the caveat that it is crazy and it's kind of rough, and like I say, it's tonally all over the place. But which is great, I think.
Yes, excellent stuff. Have you been playing anything else, or is that kind of, apart from obviously the bevy of games you've been playing on Xbox One X?
Yeah, kind of jumped into Super Mario, jumped into Stardew Valley a couple of weeks ago, but it's pretty much just been Shadow of War, because I wasn't expecting that to take up 40 plus hours of my time, to be honest. I thought it would have been 10 hours, but and every time I put it down, I was frustrated. The next day, I was like, I just got to go back in. I've got to see what's next,
That's just so good. I love it when a game just does pull you back in, when you want to play it, and that's fantastic. I think for me, the only game I've been playing that we haven't mentioned, been playing a lot of Super Mario, Stardew, obviously, but I've already talked enough about that. But as Call of Duty World War II, so a boomerang that, it seems to be the running theme between the three of us is like, boomerang is the way to go for these, especially for something like Call of Duty World War II, because I'm not a big multiplayer guy when it comes to Call of Duty. I'd prefer to play, Destiny or other games, but I just like playing the campaign. I enjoy the campaign once a year, to play this crazy campaign that they just kind of put in, and World War II is actually, it's really good fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's obviously, due to the title, it's back to World War II, but it's just, it looks incredible, looks stunning, and now that it gets that graphical bump on the Xbox One X, it's looking even better. But there are points where they have, they've got Josh Duhamel, who is an actor. He was in Transformers and things like that. So he used to be in other programs, but he's motion captured and he's in it, and it is just such. It's fantastic. I mean, they had Kevin Spacey before, and Kevin Spacey looked great. But when you see this guy, you're just instantly that looks realistic. It looks photorealistic, and the areas that you're in, France. You're working your way through France. You're working your way to Germany, and it's incredible. So far I've done trench warfare. I've been in Paris, and every level is just spurring me on. And the stories a Call of Duty story. I'm not playing it for the story. I'm just playing it because it handles well, and I'm really enjoying the guns, and I'm really enjoying just playing this game. And I think that's what I get, and kind of from the last game, which was Infinite Warfare or Space Warfare or whatever the last one was, it's completely stripped down, but at the same time it feels really good. The only thing that is different with World War II is that your health doesn't regen. So I'm just playing it on normal mode. I'm just playing it in the middle. I'm not as hardcore like Steve. I'm just kind of playing it kind of like just normal. And your health doesn't regen, so you have to get med packs. So there is an animation of you kind of administering the med packs, which has got me killed a couple of times. But you do have support characters around, and one of them is ammo, and his bar will fill up. So you see a little circle around him in the bottom right, and he will fill up, and then you press up or left on the D-pad, and he will chuck you some ammo. And then you have someone else called Zussman, who is like you're kind of the guy you're kind of with a lot of this game so far that I've played, and he will give you med packs. So I've always got I think you can carry about a maximum of 4 med packs. I've always got 4 med packs, but I am kind of using them a lot, and it's not like you can duck into cover and wait for your health just to kind of fill up again. You actually have to administer the med packs to do it. So that's kind of where they've changed up the mechanics slightly, but it just feels like a better version of World at War, because I quite enjoyed that game as well. But it's just it's really good. I'm really enjoying the campaign.
Med packs, it really is like going back to the 90s, isn't it? With
is.
that mechanic, crikey.
Yes,
old school.
It's really interesting because, like last week, I was playing Wolfenstein, like Castle Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, and with that, you have to press the X button to pick things up. And that felt weird. So it's not just a case of like, with Destiny, you kind of go over and it just hoovers them up, doesn't it? But with this, you actually have to go over and press X, so you have to pick up things. So you're playing, you're doing that mechanic, and then you're administering med packs. I'm like, this feels weird. The gaming I'm playing is weird. It's like it's fun, but it just feels different. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I had a quick go of the zombies mode just to see what it was like. I had a quick go single player. I normally play that with my nephew every now and then, we just kind of jump in. But I had a quick go to see what it was like, and it was really good. It just seems like the zombies mode is a strange thing, because it's like my nephews and his friends, they play it a lot, and they know kind of what to do. And when you play with them, it's quite weird. They're like, "Well, you got to go over here, duck down here," and they have the mechanic of zombies mode. Where me, I'm just like running around going, "I'm going to open that gate," and they're just like, and I'll die by about level 5, where I haven't kind of leveled up the right gun or opened the right gate. And but it looks, like I say, it looks great, but it's very cool. It's very cool. So yes, so that's it. So I've just been playing that really in Super Mario.
It's weird that we're in 2017 and we're talking about a new Wolfenstein and a new Call of Duty game. It's
a new
bizarre.
Call of Duty World War II, yeah.
And new Mario, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the new Mario game, but it's just it is. We are just reset, but we've reset in an awesome way. So right. So we jump into the news. But before we start the news, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes or YouTube. Right. So in the news section this week, we have sad news for Telltale Studios, good news if you're a Hitman fan, and even better news if you're Ubisoft, as the launch sales are in for Assassin's Creed. But the first piece of news, Steve, is with you.
Yeah, so it's new came out this morning. Like you say, good news for Hitman fans, albeit a very brief announcement. IO Interactive have confirmed there's a new Hitman in the works. So there's very little to talk about it beyond that. Reading the announcement, that's they're self-admittedly saying that's all they've got to confirm about it. They've said they don't plan giving firm details out until 2018, but it is going to have some exciting new features and some franchise firsts apparently. So what they're going to be, we don't know, but certainly it does sound very exciting given that they've already kind of gone a new direction with Hitman, given the episodic route they went down for the last game. So some franchise first as well. That sounds interesting. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest Hitman fan, but I've waited for all the episodes to come out on a disc, and I'm waiting again. Shameless plug to Boomerang. It's on the list there, waiting to be sent out.
Are we getting paid,
get paid
or
by
not?
the mention?
I think they should. Yeah, I think they should sponsor it. I think.
We'll ask some questions.
If we mention them 5 times, I think we need at least some.
So it sounds interesting. Like I said, the franchise first thing gives us, it'll start questions, being asked of them. Is it going to be, even bigger? Is it going to be online? A bit more online capabilities? What sort of things that going to happen? And and certainly it's had a lot of controversy in the past as Hitman. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. Definitely.
Yeah, that last game was so good as well. I'm really glad that they managed to keep the license and carry on doing this, because there was a danger that they wouldn't be able to do that when they got split from. Who did they get split from? Who's the studio? I can't remember. It was IO, and they got split from
Square Enix. Yeah,
Square Enix. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because a lot of people were worried that they wouldn't be able to carry on working on Hitman. They'd have to do a new character. But it's great that they've managed to pick it up again and take it forward, because that last game was just stunning. It was really, really spectacular.
They did briefly mention that in the announcement as well, saying it's nice to have something positive to say about the series, given, like you say, the uncertainty of the future of them. In the announcement, they said they've had 7 million players in that game. That's it's quite good, figures wise.
That's
so
amazing,
it's quite good to see that, given that they've lost the backing of Square, that they can still, be their own entity and still, by the sounds of it, have a positive future. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, whether it's still episodic or not, or if it's just a full title, in one go. But definitely positive signs, at least for IO.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, no, it's really good, like you say, Manny. It was really good that they kind of got that. They've got that franchise now, so they can just kind of do what they want, or maybe what the vision that they have for it. And I think you're right, Steve. I mean, that kind of franchise first, does that mean, you can then do like online co-op? You can then, you imagine just kind of...
co-op assassination missions would be so much fun.
It would be so
That'd be
much
great.
fun. Yeah, four of us, all being organised by James, sending us places.
Absolutely, it has to be organised by Sheep. For sure.
And then we're just all just kind of just taking those people out all at once. That would be a thing of beauty, I think. And if that was executed well, that would just be that would be.
Would you want to be responsible for it going wrong though? Would you want to fear the wrath of Jeff Sommers?
As long as it was funny, that's fine. I can take on that mantle. That's okay. I can be the bumbling idiot. That's fine.
Yeah, just come running out of the boat dressed as a clown, going, "Sorry, I didn't
get the memo."
And then just like running out. yeah. I thought you said go. It's like carnage all happening all behind you. No, that could be. Oh god, that could be great fun. So they said they're going to talk more about it next year.
Yeah. So they said more is going to come in 2018. So I mean, that, to be fair, it's not a long time away. Given it's still the end of the year. So when it'll be, I don't know. I mean, the assumption probably will be E3. Around that sort of E3 time, it'll, give them time to make a sort of a big announcement, I imagine. It'll be interesting what platform it comes out on as well. Whether we do see something on Nintendo or, on the Switch, maybe, who knows. But, we'll see. I'd if I was a betting man, I'd put money on E3.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're a smart man, Phil Spencer's writing a big check right now to try and get an exclusive on Xbox.
You'd imagine.
It's like, come to us for like the first couple of episodes, and then you can kind of like look all the stuff we can do. Similar to like PlayerUnknown's Battleground, it's like look all the infrastructure and all the experience that you can play with, just by coming into Microsoft.
Yeah, are you guys going to be tempted to pick that up, by the way, when it comes out? Battlegrounds. Yeah.
Yes. What PlayerUnknown PUBG?
PUBG,
as they call it. Oh yes. I'm going to be day one.
We'll have to have a Lost Spark session on that, because that game is phenomenal. It's so much fun.
Yes. I've held back because I don't have a PC. I don't have a gaming PC, so I've held back. I haven't played it yet, so I'm looking forward to 12th of December, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's in, and the great thing about it, I guess, is because it's in the preview program. If you want, you can jump in for free, because you get to play the first couple of hours for free, don't you, in the preview program? So that means a lot of people can. So all preview titles have a demo that you can just kind of play for a little while. Actually,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of demos, before I came up to Pod, I just happened to be on the Xbox One dashboard, and via EA Access, you can play 10 hours of Star Wars Battlefront 2 right now. Ooh. It's available right now via EA Access. 51 gig download. First 10 hours. I've got it downloading.
Did you tell me that?
I've got it downloading now.
The game will be out by the time I've downloaded
tonight. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I just want to. You can imagine. I don't know if it's campaign. They just said experience the game first 10 hours. I played the beta and really enjoyed the beta, but they're like 10-hour trial starts now.
I suspect it'll be like because I did that with Madden and FIFA last year, and I think they'll probably give you the first chapter of the story, and then they'll lock you out and send you into multiplayer, because that's what they did with those games. Because then with 10 hours, you could probably finish the campaign. I suspect.
Yes, it's not going to be any longer than 7, is it?
No. Do you know if that's the Xbox One X enhanced version as well, or is it just the normal?
Well, the beta,
just out of curiosity,
the beta was HDR.
Oh, great stuff. Okay.
So the
I'm
beta,
going to download that now.
and there's lots of leaves being blown around as well. So if you're listening to this should be going up on Thursday or Friday. It's available now. So rush to, if you've got EA access, you can play that. And also Need for Speed as well has got a trial. The new Need for Speed game.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent.
All
That's
via
the next 2
EA
days
access.
sorted.
You're welcome. And the next piece of news is with you, Manny.
Yeah, so this is just a cheeky one. I quite like this because it reminded me of the old console wars back in the day. But on the day of the Xbox One X, Sony has announced a new PS4 Pro bundle. Shock horror.
Oh wow!
For the exact same price as the Xbox One X. Yeah, indeed. What a shock! So for 449 quid, they are selling you a PlayStation 4 Pro, the 1 terabyte version, I think, with 5 games. The 5 games are Gran Turismo, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Horizon Zero Dawn, Wipeout Omega, plus they're putting in the Horizon Zero Dawn. The DLC for that game. They've put that down as a 5th game, which I think is a little bit cheeky. But,
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's $449.99 and it's out now. But apparently it's sold out pretty much straight away. So
wow.
I guess that means it's pretty popular. And to be fair, that's pretty good value for that. 450 quid for those 5 titles. Sorry, those 4 titles plus DLC.
And all of those games are all 4K or, kind of checkable 4K or HDR, because I've got Wipeout Omega and that looks stunning on the PlayStation Pro. So they've kind of all of that. And I noticed that the Horizon Zero Dawn, the Frozen Wilds, that's the DLC, isn't it?
Frozen Wilds, yeah, that's it.
That came out yesterday as well, the same day as the Xbox One X. So it's also like, right, we're going to try and steal your thunder as well. And Nintendo had a Direct as well on the same day. It's all just like thunder stealing to try and kind of suppress the noise that's coming from the Xbox One X. Not that it's a noisy console, indeed. But from media outlets.
I need to get back to that because that game came out when just around Zelda, didn't it?
Yes.
Horizon. And I remember playing the first couple of hours, then Zelda came out, and that just took me over. But I can't. I've tried to go back to it a couple of times, but I can't get used to the controls again. So I think I need to start fresh now at this point.
Yes. I'm exactly the same boat. I wanted to finish it so we could talk about it in like the Game of the Year stuff. But I finished Zelda, then went back to that, and I was just. I was put off by the constraints. I wanted to jump over that tree and I wanted to go this way. I can do that in Zelda. Why can't I do that in Horizon Zero Dawn? And it's just like
exactly that. You see a bunch of rocks, you want to climb up, you can't do it. You get frustrated, you turn it off. That's the whole loop of that.
That's it. That's a gaming loop for you. It's just like can't do it. So the next piece of news is with me, and again it's kind of a quick one, but it's one that it's a game that I've got in my sights and I'm very excited about. It's the Planet of the Apes: Last Frontier. So Imaginariums, the studio behind the Andy Serkis owned studio that's behind this game, have announced that the PlayStation 4 version of this cinematic narrative adventure will be coming to Europe and North America on the 21st of November. So only kind of a couple of weeks and change away from The Last Frontier kind of coming out. It did appear on the PlayStation Network very briefly and then disappeared, which was quite interesting. So it was like up for 20 minutes and then it just disappeared. So it was they were obviously putting it there and someone put the buy button there. So Andy Serkis has come out. There's been another trailer for this game, but I'm trying to stay away from it because for me it feels like a Telltale game, but set in the Planet of the Apes universe. But it seems very cinematic. It's set between Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. So it's set in between those two movies, and you have this warring faction, or you have a faction of apes, and then you have a faction of humans, and I think they're both kind of struggling where they are. There's a war between them, but you just kind of there's choices, and it's all part of this play link. So I even think you might be able to play it on your phone, using your phone as that second screen controller as well. So have either of you guys seen the trailer for this? Are you interested in it?
Honestly, no, I haven't seen it. And by the same token, probably something that probably would slip me by. I'm not a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I mean, is it like its own thing? Does it kind of do anything from the movies, or is it just kind of its own standalone title?
No, it's standalone. It's just set. It's not. It doesn't have any of the characters from the trailers that I've seen. It doesn't have any of the trailers. It doesn't have any of the characters from the movies. It has its own kind of group of apes, and there was a part in Planet of the Apes, the War of the Planet of the Apes, where you had this amazing character called Bad Ape, and he was talking about other apes. So I don't know if that is this bunch of apes that we're seeing here is actually that the Bad Ape was talking about, and so it's just so interesting. I just love the look of it. I don't think it's going to be long. I do think they did say there's a couple of outcomes. There's different endings to this, but it seems very experimental. But at the same time, it seems like it could be quite something special to play.
It sounds great, yeah. I remember before you talked about it on the pod, which would have been a couple of months ago now, wouldn't it, I think. I saw a screenshot from it, and it was just an ape with a gun, and I was like, oh god, this is going to be terrible. Like a third-person shooter starring apes, that would be terrible. Because I really love those films, and I think if they went that direction with it, it would have been shocking. But this is the right way to go with it, because it is very story heavy. They're very sort of plot heavy films, aren't they? And this is definitely the right choice for it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be available on the 21st of November. It's $15.99 for the UK. €19.99 and $19.99 like I say, there's a pre-order bundle that's available now on the PlayStation Network. You can get like free themes and soundtracks and things like that. But yeah, that's it's not far away. So I'll report back when I play it when it comes out. So, Steve, the next piece of news is with
and there's nothing more to say than apparently Assassin's Creed is officially back. That's according to their official, their own bulletin. Piece of news saying that Assassin's Creed Origins, the launch sales were double that of Syndicate, which probably comes as no shock to anyone that played Syndicate. As interesting as the setting was. It was kind of let down by the same old Assassin's Creed problems, I think. I'm quite a fan of the series, if I'm being honest. It was kind of one of those games that you could rely on to play year on year, and you knew it wasn't going to be great, but it served a purpose. But I think is it a 2-year break it's had now? I think the break's done it some good. I haven't played it from launch. It's something that I will rent because it's not a game that I'm bothered about buying. But the initial signs from watching the trailers, watching reviews rolling, it does seem to be pretty good. The Egypt setting, it looks quite nice. That the world is quite big from what I've seen as well. And the map, so it does look quite expansive. So I know a lot of people probably say it's just Assassin's Creed in Egypt, which it probably is. But it's just a game that I like to play in. It's kind of one of my comfort games. I know what it's going to do. I know what I'm going to get out of it. I know what it's going to give me. So it does look like it's no surprise that it has been quite popular. The article that announced it was pretty confusing, really. That it said they would double, but then it said that some of the physical copies are on par, but then there was a 35% share of digital downloads for the actual figure. So to me, that seems quite high. I know that a lot of people are still going, physical media, with being myself, depending on internet speeds, but I think a 35% uptake on launch sales is quite a promising sign for the industry of digital downloads. So I think that in itself is something that, committing to a digital game, especially that you can't trade back in or sell on, I think that is quite a significant achievement, really, in terms of getting people to invest from an early stage. So it is impressive in a way. Like I say, read into it what you will, but it's nice to see Assassin's Creed back in some respect. So it's something I'll pick up and play eventually. So I'm quite glad it's come out, and I believe there's quite a significant difference for Xbox One X as well. Again, I obviously don't know the difference in terms of I won't have it, but from what I've seen, the upscaling does sound like to be quite a drastic improvement, a dramatic improvement. So I think from that perspective, well, it's a good showcase of the new hardware that we've just got as well. Yeah, no,
I'm looking forward to it. For this, I'm the same as you, Steve. I didn't play the last Assassin's Creed. Actually, I did. For some reason, I didn't play that, the one that was set in London. I can't remember what that one was, but I didn't play that. But for me, this is like a Christmas game. This is a game I'll get for Christmas, and then I'll play it kind of over Christmas, and just kind of while I'm doing that. And I've already said, I've already put it on my Christmas list that I wouldn't mind a copy of this, because you're right. It's that Xbox One X enhanced. So I was just like, when I get back from my holiday, I wouldn't mind just kind of sitting down and just kind of playing it and just lose it. I've got a couple of days before I go back to work, like in the new year. So I thought it'd just be really good just to kind of sit down and just play Syndicate Origins for a couple of days. Not Syndicate. Just play Origins for a couple, because I'm totally glad that the kind of Assassin's Creed's back, and and also it's quite an interesting character as well. It looks like a very kind of interesting character. I think James is playing it at the moment. I think I saw he was tweeting yesterday. He's playing it, so I'll be interested to see what he says when he's on the pod next.
Yeah. Did you guys see they put in like a history tourism mode in this game as well, which is quite interesting.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the thing that really makes me sort of come back to these games, and they basically put in a mode where they take out all the combat, and you can just literally wander around the world and go into all the the monuments and all the old buildings and stuff, and there's like a little voiceover and tells you about that period of history, and it takes you on this little guided tour around the whole of Egypt, which sounds fantastic to me. I imagine being in school and having that, it'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, it's quite interesting. I think I have said previously on the pod, but one of the teachers that my nephew has, he is actually teaching history that is in Assassin's Creed games. So it's like he's taking the timelines from Assassin's Creed games, and that's how they're these history lessons, and it's just, and I think that's really good because it's piqued their interest because there's a game wrapped around it, so they're interested about it, and then when you actually kind of flesh that world out and actually kind of give them the proper history, that's really good. But that's fantastic. I didn't see they haven't publicised that because I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, it just popped up in news like a couple of weeks ago. So he's teaching history from Assassin's Creed. So is he like, this is when the Templars got the Apple of Eden, son?
Yeah, this is Desmond. No, he's basically so you have all of the different time periods. So he's basically like we are going to do this time period, and this was Assassin's Creed 3. And he's going to do that, and just say this is, and that's what he's doing. He's almost kind of using the different Assassin's Creed games to teach those timelines.
Brilliant.
It just makes him a cool teacher as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
It makes him like
for sure.
Hip teacher. There was always one when you were at school that was really cool, but it was just like for me was my English teacher who really liked Dylan Thomas, and that was just like that was really cool. He was always like the cool teacher, he was like just like patches, and now I wear patches a lot. It's obviously he's affected me in my life.
Yeah, we had a French teacher that listened to punk records, and he just smoked black coffee all the time and smoked the French cigarettes. So he was the one. We were all just like, this dude's cool. We definitely want to be him for sure. He's the one. If I can model myself, it's going to be on him.
And that's how you live your life now.
Indeed, yeah, pretty much, all the way.
Awesome stuff. Next piece of news is with you, Manny.
Yeah, so this is sort of sad, but not, I guess. Do you guys remember the Miiverse?
Yes.
The service from Nintendo?
Yes.
So this launched back in 2012 with the Wii U, and it was Nintendo's attempt to kind of bring like a message board culture to their console. So it started off on the Wii U and went to the 3DS, and it basically allowed players to post screenshots, to post little doodles, post messages, but all under the banner of different games and different sort of themes. So it literally was like Nintendo's message board system. And sadly, it's come to an end. It shut down yesterday. I think people knew about it. They put out a message about 12 months ago, and they created a separate board for people to write their own little messages in there, just saying farewell to the service, Right. And they've taken all of those posts and they put them online for people to see, which is nice. They also created some kind of massive collage from all the posts as well, which is like a little person waving goodbye. So yeah, it's a sad thing because I remember that thing. I remember that service being quite fun. I used to pop on there from time to time just to see what people were doing. And the best use of it I remember was in the original Splatoon, where you were walking around the game lobby and it just had people's Miis. And it would just pop up the little Miiverse posts as well. So you'd be walking around, you'd see the Mii, then you'd see the things that they've been posted in the Miiverse, which was great. It was just a nice little bit of nice little touch. So yeah, sad times, but all good things have to come to an end.
Excellent stuff. So is that collage live now? Then is that live is it on Nintendo's site? We can stick a link in the post.
It was tweeted out yesterday, so yeah, I'll find the tweet and we can put that in.
Excellent stuff, superb. And then the last piece of news is with me, and it's another sad one. It's not as sad as the Miiverse closing, but it is sad, and it's the Telltale, the studio behind all of the episodic games that we all love, The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and etc. They've actually they've let go 25% of their staff. So just this week they've let go of 90 members of the team because they've just said that they need to streamline the studio and they need to get back and focus on and make themselves this kind of cutting edge studio. So it feels like that maybe that they were doing too much too fast. That they were, because I think they have released 11 titles in the last 5 years. So by doing that, they probably just keep ramping up, bringing in more people to the point where they had over 300 developers working on Telltale games. So and I think they've just got to the point where it's obviously not a sustainable model for them, so they've had to let 90 people go, which is 25% of their San Francisco-based studios. So it's worrying, because obviously you don't want Telltale games to kind of go away, but maybe at the same time it might be a bit of a warning shot to the studio as well, that maybe they need to just focus on quality rather than quantity, because having 11 titles, each title has about 5 episodes, I think the Telltale game has. So there's like that over the last 5 years. That's the crazy amount of content that they put out.
The one good thing about this, and I know I only mean good from our end, because obviously this is a very sad thing when people get laid off. But in the press release, they did mention that they're moving over to a different technology as well. So all of the technical issues that they've had over the previous years, they're hopefully now going to actually address. Because I've got to be honest, they burned a lot of my goodwill on some of the stuff that they put out. Particularly, what was it? I think it was Batman. No, it wasn't Batman. It was the Borderlands one that came out on Xbox, which was a phenomenal game.
Yes.
But my God, that is one of the worst running games I've ever played in my entire life. It was shockingly bad. So if anything good comes out of this, it's that they're finally going to shift over and get rid of that engine and start afresh. Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I think, the kind of last scene of Tales of the Borderlands, the last big battle, it hardly ran. It just kept juddering, but it's asking you to press buttons at a very specific time, but at the same time, it's juddering all over the place, even dropping out. I think it did occasionally on my Xbox. At the moment, I have Batman, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. They're both just sitting there. I've got about 2 episodes of Batman and 3 episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy. They're just sitting on my hard drive. And I just think, not that I'm getting fatigued, but none of them are kind of pushing me to play. I want to play Life is Strange. I want to play the second episode of Life is Strange before I play those. And I just think, similar to what Steve was saying about Assassin's Creed, I think they could afford to go away for a year.
Yeah.
Make something, redo the engine. Last week, Gary Whitta, the co-writer of Star Wars Rogue One, has announced that he's back on the team because he helped write the very first season of Walking Dead.
Oh, great! So
he's back now for the last of Clementine's story. So he's back to do so. But take some time off, regroup, fix that engine. And obviously finish up Batman, finish up Guardians, and then just take some time off. And then just make those games kind of what they should be, and those amazing achievements that they are.
I think the issue that I had is as much as you think it's a different world done by Telltale, it ends up just being, like you say, a bit of the same thing. So, great, it's Batman done by Telltale, or it's Borderlands done by Telltale, but you kind of know where it's going to go, and it's brilliant to see. Like, I played Batman every episode, and it was really good. But I mean, I'm a massive Batman fan, but I personally didn't think it was their best outing. So, like you say, it's good in a way that it will allow them to be better experiences. But, like you say, it's sad for them that the balloon had to, or the bubble had to burst at some point. But I think if they focus more on, like you say, quality rather than quantity, and sort of maybe even focus just on the console market, because they brought them out on tablets and phones as well, didn't they? And on iOS and Android. So, I mean, for me, they are console experiences, not mobile experiences. So I think if they kind of channel their efforts onto that as well, as well as just focusing more on the quality side of things, that it will benefit them as well, because they are a brilliant studio. There's no doubt in their talent, but there's only so many times you can play in a different franchise or a different world and expect the same things at the end of the day. Because if they need something new, they need something fresh. What that'll be. Yes. We don't know, but given this new technology they're running on, like I say, it might be a bit smoother, maybe a little bit more open, a bit longer, maybe. But it's good to see that they are accepting that they can't reach beyond the limits in a way.
Absolutely, you're absolutely spot on. And one of the things that I really loved about this was that when they did announce that they were letting 90 people go, how many studios just suddenly tweeted that we've got jobs. It's like Insomniac, we're hiring. All of the San Francisco kind of Bay Area, kind of Californian studios were all tweeting kind of at Telltale to just say, we've got jobs. We've got some jobs. Here's our message boards. Here's our site. Come and apply for these jobs. We're looking for people. So it's really nice to actually see the games industry rally around these 90 odd people that have just lost their job, because it's not nice to do that. But at the same time, it was really lovely just to see all of these guys just kind of bubbling up and go, come over here, we've got plenty of stuff. If you leave Telltale and go and work at Insomniac to do Spider-Man, that's gotta be quite exciting, especially if you're kind of that way inclined. For me, it would be. I'd love that. But it was really nice just to see that. But I totally agree with you guys. It's like, fix that engine, go away, give us a break, and I think that's probably it. We've got Telltale fatigue. It's like, give us a break. Just write that story, get Gary Whitta, get all of your incredible guys to write that story, and then come back with a really good final part of Clementine's story, because she's such a fantastic character, and it's just so good to I love Walking Dead Part 1 and Part 2. Walking Dead Part 1 was just a surprise that hit me one Christmas, and I just played through the entire game, and I was blown away by it. And after that, I was just, because there'd been other Telltale games before. I think there'd been Back to the Future and there'd been Jurassic Park, but they weren't that good. So I just kind of, I just passed them by, and then Walking Dead suddenly just hit me out of the blue. So I want to go back to that. I want those feels back. I want to kind of feel that.
Yeah, I totally agree, but. When they bring them back, definitely bring them all out on the Switch, because I feel like the Switch is the perfect place for those games. I don't know why, but that just seems to fit for me.
But they've started to, haven't they? They've brought out kind of like Walking Dead's out, Batman is out as well, the first Batman, so they're kind of bringing them out. I don't know what they play like. I have been tempted.
I'm curious, but God, it's probably going to be shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, it could either be great, like you say, and be a perfect thing for that, or it could be shockingly bad and juddering all over the place. But as Steve was saying, they're on everything from the fridge to kind of to the washing machine, so it's just like, why not? Why shouldn't it be good on the Switch? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe I'll see if I can jump in. I've got a flight soon, so maybe I'll play one on the flight, so and see what it's like. I've got nowhere to go then, so I'll just play that. So that's about it. So that's about it for this episode. Big thank you guys for joining. I thought it was fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Excellent stuff. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostpark.com even. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube, and also Gamers of Lost Spark, PS4 Community, and Xbox One Club. Manny, where can people catch up with you, sir?
There's probably too many places. I'm General Garcia on Xbox and Steam, Presidente Garcia on PSN, and Manuel_Garcia on Twitter. There's a theme there.
Yes. So when did you get promoted from like General to Presidente? It was like
it's happened over the years. It's a long career, you can't even remember where it started now, to be honest. But I'm not sure what I am. I might be captain next. I don't know.
It's a slow burn. So Steve, where can people find you online?
On Xbox Live, I am SteeCarter91. On the PSN, I am Cartero, and on Twitter, I am Stee_Carter91, and on Switch, I'm some random sequence of numbers. I'd love to tell you what my username is, but I don't know. But I'm sure you can find me in some variety on there.
Excellent stuff. Also, and also you also post reviews, some fantastic game reviews, and also opinion pieces as well on D-Pad Joy.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so that's a site that's just started in the last sort of 6 months. Joined in April off the back of a guy I knew who was setting something new up, and it seems to be going quite well at the minute. So yeah, like I say, a few reviews. Got a couple coming up as well. So if you do want to check us out, like I say, dpadjoy.com. And also at dpadjoy on Twitter as well, if you want to see what's going on over there.
Excellent stuff. Superb. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostpark.com. Well, that's about it, guys. Thank you very much. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Awesome.